Everyone, thank you so much for joining our meetup with Pretty Agile. We are so excited to be inviting Marc Ricks, SAFE Fellow, an employee of Scaled Agile, to join us this morning to talk about value stream management. I think, Marc, this is what, your second or third time joining us and speaking now from Hawaii, which is just horrible, right?
Right. Yeah, it seems like 2 or 3. Yeah, definitely not enough, but I'm really glad to be here. Thanks.
We're glad to have you. All right, take it away. They're all yours.
Okay, let's roll. We're here to talk about value stream management in SAFE. So there's going to be a lot of value stream management in here, and there's going to be a lot of SAFE in here. So we're going to look at the intersecting points, and we're going to kind of explore around those intersecting points too, and hopefully give you a few different perspectives on VSM and kind of zero in on how we treat value stream management in SAFE. And then I'm very interested to get feedback from you all along the way. This is me. As Adrian said, I'm a SAFE Fellow. I'm a Principal Consultant at Scaled Agile. I've been with the company for going on 4 years now. Prior to that, I was consulting independently, running large-scale SAFE and DevOps transformations. Enough about me. Let's start with why. Why are we talking about value stream management here today? Well, I know why a lot of folks are talking about value stream management today, both within Scaled Agile, out in the field. We hear it all the time. We're reacting to it. We've been reacting to the buzz around value stream management for the last couple of years. A lot of that buzz traces back to this Gartner quote, certainly not the origin of the buzz, but this passage from a Gartner report from 2019, fall of 2019, really caused a stir in the industry and got a lot of people's attention, especially the providers of services and tools. So here Gartner posited that by 2023, which is just around the corner, right? 70%, the vast majority of organizations are going to be using value stream management to improve flow in their organizations. So we took that to heart. We recognized that when Gartner makes a claim like this, a lot of people sit up and listen. There's research there, there are facts behind it. So we knew that something big was going on with VSM in the industry. So there's a lot of buzz. We reacted to that buzz. It's not that we needed to start thinking about value stream management. We've always been, value streams have always been integral to what we do in SAFE. I'm going to get to that in a minute, but this really caused us to increase our thinking and double down on how we treat and label value stream management in SAFE. Let's get started with some preliminaries. And so what is value stream management? There are a lot of definitions of value stream management out there. Here is ours. And this is published on our framework site now under an advanced topic article titled Value Stream Management in SAFE. So for us at Scaled Agile, VSM is a leadership and technical discipline that enables maximum flow of business value through the end-to-end solution delivery lifecycle. Pretty simple. Hopefully that's pretty straightforward. Now, since everyone has their own definition of value stream management, we've kind of compared and contrasted the differences. Now, there are things that we all generally agree on and some things that are generally different. But what we all tend to agree on, at least of the prevailing definitions of value stream management, is that it has to do with flow. We're trying to maximize flow, build efficiency, build productivity, reduce waste, accelerate delivery through that value stream. So it really is about achieving maximum flow through that end-to-end solution delivery cycle. So we all agree on flow, and we all agree on the flow of value. So we think about what needs to flow through that value stream. Well, it's value to the end customer, right? It's not necessarily work. We do work in that value stream, but we do that work so that value can flow to our customers as quickly as possible in the shortest sustainable lead time with the highest quality possible. So those are the elements that we all tend to agree on. Some of the disagreement that we've seen around the definition of VSM is around whether it's end-to-end, whether it's really an end-to-end perspective or it's a portion of the value stream. So we at SAFE firmly believe that value stream management needs to be applied to the end-to-end value stream. from concept to catch, from trigger to release, from trigger to value, from inception to delivery. However you define that, whatever that looks like in your organization, from beginning to end, essentially from customer to customer. Now, there are a lot of folks, both vendors and providers and enterprises around the world who believe that value stream management really applies to a portion of that value stream. So a lot of folks these days are applying VSM to DevOps pipelines or CI/CD pipelines. We'll talk about that in a second, but our view, even though VSM as a category and as a buzzword has sort of emerged in recent years through the DevOps community and applied to a portion of the value stream, we really believe that it applies to the whole thing end to end. So as I'm going through this, I'd be interested to know your views on that. When you think about value stream management, do you think about it in terms of the end-to-end value stream from customer to customer, or are you or your organizations applying value stream management to just a portion of the value stream? I'd be interested in getting your reactions in chat. While you're doing that, let's talk about what a value stream is. So this kind of gives us a view of that end-to-end concept. So for us, as we define value streams in SAFe, a value stream is the set of steps an organization executes to deliver a solution to a customer from initiation through value realization. So we start with a customer request or an idea or a need or a desire that comes from somewhere outside the organization. It could be directly adjacent to the organization from a business stakeholder or sponsor. It could be product management. It could be from a customer, an internal customer or an external customer, or some other source outside of the organization. But these requests are all traced to some kind of a market need for that service. So that happens. And then within SAFe, we're looking at a development value stream. So for those who are keeping score on the type of value streams that we're talking about here, this is a view of a development value stream in SAFe. And this is the value stream that we use to develop digitally enabled technology solutions for the business or for end consumption by our external customers. So in order to build those solutions, which are very technical by nature, we define them, we build them, we validate, and we release them. So that's a cycle that takes an idea, runs it through a process, creates value, and delivers that value to the end customer, whether that customer is internal or external. We believe that value stream management should be applied to that end-to-end cycle in order to streamline delivery all the way from end to end. And in the chat, it looks like there's a little bit of variability. So some of you are thinking about VSM in terms of a portion of this value stream, and some are thinking in terms of end to end. It's very in line with what I'm seeing in the industry. There's no really right or wrong answer. I'm just presenting the Scaled Agile point of view here. So that's a value stream. Where do they come from? Seems like everybody's talking about value stream management today. We can't do value stream management without value streams. But where did these things come from? The message here is that, first of all, Scaled Agile didn't invent the concept. We incorporate the concept, but we did not invent the concept. In fact, the concept dates back many, many years. Here's a stack of books. I think this picture actually comes from Dean Leffingwell's desk at his house. This is part of his library, and this is a stack of books. We all have these books. I'm sure some of these look familiar to you. But we first started to hear about value streams and value stream management and these concepts as far back as what's that date? 1996. It's a little bit hidden for me. Yeah, about 96. Not to say that this lean thinking book by Womack and Jones was the first introduction of value streams and value stream management, but it was a very heavily cited source, and remains being a very heavily cited source, and was kind of transformational in bringing the concepts to popularity way back then. And then there's a stack of books, right? We have Warden Sobek's book, and then a lot of us have read the Pop and Beat series, which includes value stream management. A lot on value stream mapping by Karen Martin and her co-author. A lot of those concepts we baked into the SAFe DevOps course and drive our value stream mapping approach. The DevOps handbook, of course, is full of references to value streams and value stream mapping and value stream management, project to product, team topologies, and it doesn't stop here. This is not an exhaustive list of references. that incorporate value stream thinking in them. But notice that, at least among this stack, things started out many, many years ago, a couple of decades ago, but they're gaining a lot more attention. There's less and less space between the writings that are happening. So VSM is becoming a thing, but it's rooted in concepts that are decades old. A lot of those concepts trace back to lean thinking in the manufacturing context, just like a lot of our agile concepts trace back to lean thinking. So definitely there's a convergence there in concepts. So that's a little bit of the history of value streams and value stream management and value stream oriented thinking. Where did SAFe come into play? So we first started to introduce value streams in 2013. This was version 2.5 of the framework. Very curious to know if Adrian and Em recognize this, first of all, and have like battle scars and success stories, and right, I'm seeing nods, right, implementing this in the field way back then and having early conversations about value streams, what these things are, and helping to educate our clients on what value streams are and how we manage them through the entire life cycle of things. So value streams as a concept is not new to SAFe. It's 10 years old. And notice up there in the upper left, we've linked them to program and portfolio management. So value streams is not only a thing to describe what we do and a method by which we deliver value, but as a governance function. We have people who are in charge of the portfolio, in charge of leading the effort and tracking the effort and ensuring that value is delivered, tightly connected to those value streams, and with a built-in governance function that's built on lean principles and lean thinking. So we started incorporating these concepts very early in the framework, and they've stuck. The only difference between this and what we're seeing today is we haven't necessarily called it value stream management. It's kind of what we do. SAFe is all about managing the value streams, but we haven't been calling it VSM per se. We continue to do this. This is a look at version 5.1. I'm sure for Em and Adrian and a lot of you, this conjures implementation stories, right? How much of this have we bitten off in the field and tested and implemented, and what are our stories around this? But notice how in that earlier version of SAFe, we had value streams mentioned once, and here in the most recent version, it's kind of multiplied. So the concept of value streams gets more and more ingrained in the framework itself. And here we're not even seeing the entire framework. This is the portfolio view of the framework. So there are other configurations with more layers. The point here is that value stream thinking, value streams as a concept, value streams as a construct is still very integral in SAFe, and it keeps getting more and more deeply rooted in what we do at every level of SAFe. So that's a little bit of the backstory. We're all probably wondering, okay, now how do we do it? Enough hand waving, enough lip service to where value stream management came from. What do we do about it? Because that's the big question on everybody's mind these days, and everybody seems to have an answer for this. Whether you're in the agile space or in the lean space or in the technology space, technology vendor, we hear a lot about value stream management and DevOps and a lot of tooling around this coming from a lot of different places. The analysts are talking about it, so it's a really big buzz. We are even seeing new titles in the enterprise or borrowed titles from yesteryear making an emergence in enterprises today to deal with value stream management. Make sure that it is cultivated as a discipline. So I'll talk more about specifically who manages the value stream a little bit later on, but let's go to this place first. In order to start the conversation of how we do value stream management, let's start with mindsets. It starts with having the right mindset. The people in the value stream first need to believe that value stream management is important, right? We need to believe that maximizing the flow of value through that delivery lifecycle, whether it's all of it or a portion of it, is really important. It's important to ourselves, it's important to our business success, it's important to our customers and stakeholders. So we first need to believe that value stream management is a thing worth pursuing. If we do that, then we're signing up to managing. and managing it takes discipline. It takes effort. Value streams aren't going to manage themselves. It takes some doing, it takes some tracking, it takes some thinking, and it takes active management. So it starts here with, kind of believing in the concept and signing up to do it, committing to managing the value stream, and taking these principles to heart. So we saw this book at the bottom of the stack in that previous slide. This is Lean Thinking by Womack and Jones, seminal work in our point of view, and has provided, at least for Scaled Agile and a lot of other folks that are sort of in the SAFe community or adjacent to the SAFe community, whether it's Agile or Lean or DevOps, a lot of the value stream management concepts are rooted in these principles of Lean thinking. So we go back to basics here with our view of VSM, and we talk about the principles that need to shine through in the value stream from various parts of the organization. I'm going to step through these one by one, but I'm going to call them out here. This is where we see them all side by side. So there are 5 principles of Lean thinking, starting with precisely specifying value by product. We need to be identifying the value stream for each product, making value flow without interruptions, letting the customer pull value from the producer, and pursuing perfection. I'm normally not one of those guys who just stands up and reads slides, but I think this one is worth reading because these concepts are very, very important. So those are the principles of Lean thinking. They underpin all of our thinking about value stream management. In the chat, if there are other sources of value stream management that are big motivators for you, I'd love to know what those sources are, whether they're books or references or your own work or frameworks or anything else. And I'm always interested to know where people's interest in value stream management comes from. So here, let's talk about the first principle, precisely specify value by product. Now, in my experience as a writer and a speaker and a consultant and a coach and a trainer, I've seen a lot of different environments. I've been around a lot of different value streams. And one thing that seems to be missing by and large is this definition of value. How do we define value? What does it look like? Who are we serving is a little bit more easier to put a finger on than the actual value itself, especially if we need to quantify that value. But that's what we're talking about here. We need to precisely specify value by product. That means we need to understand where and how value is flowing to our customers, recognizing that in SAFe, that work could be flowing through one or more development value streams, handed out to an internal customer or stakeholder, and then through an operational value stream on its way to the external customers. So there may be layers, there may be steps in between. There may be a fairly complex process to get us from inception to delivery, but we need to be very cognizant of who our customers are, not only the end customers, but our intermediate customers along the way, and what value they need at every step. So we need to be able to define that, whether that's increased productivity or cost savings or new experiences, desirable experiences, or even pure entertainment, right? We build solutions for different reasons, and we want those solutions to be desirable and viable. So we need to understand from our customers' point of view what is valuable about our solutions and be able to quantify that. But the story doesn't end there. We also need to be able to define and measure the value back to the enterprise. So there's always a value exchange at play. We're exchanging products and services for something. We want those products and services to be valuable to our end customers and to our stakeholders, but we need something in return to justify the effort and the cost. The value back to the enterprise could be things like revenue or profit, or even goodwill, or providing medical assistance, those kinds of things. So as we're precisely specifying value by product, we need to understand for each product or service or solution we're providing to the market, what is the value to customers, and what is the return value to the enterprise? Here are a couple of things that help us in SAFe do that. So we want these to be connected to our strategic themes. We can define this value in terms of KPIs or at least connect the value to our value stream KPIs so that we're sure that we're connected into the business outcomes that need to be delivered. We have a flow metrics framework that's borrowed from Project to Product and the great thinking of Nick Kirsten and Task Talk, now Plan View, and also OKR. So these are just some ideas for not only how to get started with precisely specifying value by product, but connecting and organizing that information so it's trackable and traceable over the life of the product. Okay, so that's the first one. Principle number 2 is identifying the value stream for each product. So once we understand what our products are and where the value is for both of our customers and ourselves, we need to identify that value stream for the product. In other words, how do we build that thing? How does it go out the door? Who is involved through all of these events? A lot of times this crosses organizational boundaries, it crosses team boundaries, it crosses political boundaries. We need to understand all of the steps in the flow from beginning to end, who is involved and what boundaries or barriers are crossed along the way so that we can manage across all of those people and teams and materials and potentially suppliers and boundaries. That's all part of the VSM equation. So we need to identify that value stream. And here's a basic one. We've seen this before, but the actual value streams for each product are unique for each product and environment. And of course, in SAFE, we organize these value streams into portfolios. So sometimes sometimes we're managing a single value stream at a time in a relatively simple portfolio. In other cases, we have very complex portfolios that include a mix of development value streams and operational value streams, and maybe even portfolios of portfolios. But we identify and define these value streams, and then we organize our budget and we organize our people around these development value streams. Okay, that's identifying the value stream for each product. Now, continuing down the path of principles of lean thinking, we need to make sure that those value streams flow without interruptions. Now we're getting into some details. Now we're getting into how these value streams work mechanically. What is happening within those value streams, and where might there be interruptions in flow? So here in this context, being able to locate these interruptions are very important because we need to do something about that. Obviously, interruptions are bad. They're inevitable, but we want to be able to identify them so that we can do something about them, streamline flow, and manage the value stream more effectively. But here I use the term interruptions. For you, what do interruptions mean? Or does that conjure thoughts of different kinds of terms? For you, what is an interruption? That's waiting. Yeah, we have the delay label in here. So at the top of this diagram, we have the value stream. It could be 4 steps, it could be fewer steps, it could be many more steps. And down there along that bottom row, we have a view of how that value stream is performing. Where there are delays, those dips are delays or wait time. So those are indications of potential bottlenecks. Changing priorities, changing context or scope. Yep, conflicts, all of these can lead to interruptions, right? By interruptions, we mean bottlenecks in the system, could be delays, they could be impediments, they're blockers, they're log jams, they're hairballs, somewhere in that value stream that need to be dealt with. Anything that's blocking the flow of value that should be addressed so that value can flow more smoothly from end to end. So as part of value stream management, as a principle of thinking lean, we need to be able to identify those interruptions so that we can correct them. Now, here at the bottom, here's a little bit more of a detailed view of that analysis. So down here is just a little zoom out of those 2 steps and what they might look like in real life if we were to do a value stream mapping workshop on this particular value stream. You notice that there's a delay there at the beginning. Maybe 2 of these steps are deploying to staging, and then we move into smoke test before we can release. we're noticing that there are 696 hours of wait time before we can deploy to staging, but we're relatively quick on our path from deploying to staging to smoke test. So performing a value stream mapping exercise and developing the measurements and the metrics through those workshops can allow us to get to this level of granularity and insight into how specifically and measurably our value streams are performing. Something like this might come out of that analysis. It usually does. We see that there's a big potential bottleneck there at the beginning with that 696 hours. That tells us right away that we could have a bottleneck there that needs to be addressed. Maybe that's the place in the value stream that needs the most attention. We identify that as an interruption, and we need to apply value stream management principles, value stream management thinking, and value stream management tools and techniques, and other things that we can borrow from SAFe to correct that situation. So that's number 3. We need to make value flow without interruptions. Now in SAFe, we're starting to go deeper into this concept. We just published a series of extended guidance articles on the framework site that go a little bit deeper into this particular lean thinking principle, making value flow without interruptions. So once we've identified those interruptions, the question is, what are we going to do about them? We need to be able to debug them. We need to be able to get to root causes, and we need to decide how we can alleviate those bottlenecks to improve flow. It's not always the same problem every time. Even with the same problems, they may not require the same solutions. So here are our 8 flow accelerators that are recently published within the last couple of months or so. Shortly prior to our SAFe Summit, we published these. So visualizing and limit whip, addressing bottlenecks and getting faster feedback and reducing queue length. These are all tools. These are all levers that we can pull and methods that we can apply to alleviate those interruptions in the flow of value. Yeah, I see, references to theory of constraints and other ideas in chat. Yeah, exactly. So as we're identifying interruptions, we definitely need to prioritize those interruptions, because it doesn't make economic sense to address all interruptions, all bottlenecks at the same time. So you need to be thoughtful about identifying the right bottlenecks at the right times and putting effort behind the bottlenecks that, when corrected, will give us the most leverage, the most benefit in flow. So number 4 here is letting the customer pull value from the producer. Now, this one comes directly from manufacturing, and in a manufacturing context, this makes absolute sense. It's almost 100% of the time we want pull-based flow through those value streams. In a software development context, it's a little bit different. We do a little bit of push because we don't necessarily always have customers who are pulling APIs from us and pulling detailed components, pulling elements of architecture, and pulling specific features. We definitely have an element of that, but there are things that we push and things that we pull. But in general, we want to enable pull-based systems and pull-based flow through these value streams. So in a push-oriented scenario, we have a situation that looks like this. Over on the left, we have the enterprise with what the enterprise thinks that the customer needs. If we're not connected to that customer, if we don't have early feedback, if we're not engaging the customer in those early discussions, we run the risk of producing plans and designs and architectures and implementations that, when we push them, aren't really what the customer needs. So in chat, I want to know if any of you have felt this. Have you been in an environment where solutions have been put together that have been pushed out to customers thinking that they're the latest and greatest thing, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, only to find that your customers really didn't want that thing? Either they wanted something else, or you got it totally wrong and they didn't want that thing at all. Unfortunately, it's a quite normal state of affairs. So yeah, this happens a lot. We want to avoid this kind of situation, because even if we have speed in our value streams, if what we're pushing through those value streams doesn't have value at the end of the day, we're doing value stream management for the wrong reason. So here's what we want to do instead. We want to enable more of a pull-based flow where we understand customers' needs up front. We include them in the process. We include their insights, their early feedback. We have plan, do, check, adjust cycles. We have the startup cycles where we're doing hypothesis-driven development. We're not getting too far too fast with our plans. We're not fixating on solutions. We're not fixating on budgets, and we're not fixing designs too early. We're doing what's necessary to understand enough of the customer's needs so that we can get rolling, and then we'll put those ideas in front of the customers for fast feedback, and then we'll adjust as we go along. So this is incorporating the customer early in the life cycle and frequently through the life cycle of things to ensure that we're getting that feedback and they are pulling the designs that they need. They're pulling the value that they need. They're pulling the features and the capabilities and the experiences that are of value to them. And we're making sure that we're picking up on that vibe and we're designing those capabilities in. So we do that. That picture at the bottom right, of course, is a Kanban board. And so this is just a reminder that Kanban systems are naturally pull-based and can help a lot with enabling a pull-based system in your value streams. Okay, number 5 here is pursue perfection. Seems a little bit lofty, right? And there always seems to be a principle like this, like we need perfection. We want to go all the way, and we need this thing to be the best it can be. So it may seem a little bit glib, but pursuing perfection is something that we know that we can't achieve. Perfection in the value stream is not really achievable. We can never achieve a perfectly efficient value stream or flow, but that doesn't mean we're not going to try to do it. It doesn't mean that we're not going to try to optimize our value streams to perfection at every step along the way. So this represents an ongoing commitment from everybody in the value stream who's on board. Remember, everybody needs to believe that value stream management is important for the business and for our customers, and be dedicated to the ongoing pursuit of perfection. So through that value stream, we need to constantly inspect our performance, inspect not only our personal performance, our team performance, our art performance, our organization, our business performance, but the performance of our products and market as well, and feedback that information so that we can get better and better over time. So this is inspecting, adapting within the framework of value stream management. So in SAFE, we have a metrics framework that includes measurements and approaches to perfecting competencies. These are skill related in the value stream. So do we have the right competencies in the right places? Are we applying lean portfolio management where we need to apply lean portfolio management? How are we doing in agile product delivery? How are we doing in team and technical practices? All of these play a role in how efficiently we can move product and ideas through that value stream. So we address competencies, we address flow, we address outcomes. So all of these put together represent sort of an inspect and adapt framework and a measurement framework that allows us to objectively measure how well we are achieving flow through the value streams. And we'll use these as checkpoints at frequent stops along the way and incorporate these into our own internal feedback loops, get better and better at these over time. One big enabler of this, not in every single one of these categories, but many of them, is DevOps or DevSecOps. So through applying DevOps principles, DevOps practices from end to end, we get teams moving closer to each other, more in tandem. We shift a lot of things left from an organizational and a collaboration point of view. We are breaking down silos, we're breaking down barriers throughout that value stream and getting people onto the same page and working collaboratively on moving product to end to end. Through DevOps, we're also applying a lot of automation. So I talked a little bit about value stream mapping earlier as a way to gauge and measure value stream performance. Well, doing those manually can be pretty intimidating, right? Pretty labor intensive. I'd like to know, tell me in chat how many of you have done value stream mapping sessions and whether you're using tools to manage those or if those were more manual style workshops. in my experience, value stream mapping workshops are generally manual with big rooms full of people and a lot of paper on the walls. That's how we normally get it done. And that's a great way to get it done. It's a great way to visualize the flow of work from end to end and have deep conversations about where we're aligned and not aligned on the flow itself, and what the measurements are and where we have interruptions and bottlenecks in the flow. So I always highly recommend having at least an initial manual or in-person value stream mapping workshop. But these can be time intensive, and it can be difficult to get people into a room and say more than once a year or once a quarter to do these. But in order to manage your value stream effectively, you need to be inspecting these things essentially in real time, or the more real time you can get about inspecting these components of your value stream, the more you can react in real time to blips and interruptions and optimize where you need to optimize at a moment's notice. So DevOps tooling really helps with this. We can automate portions of that pipeline. There are also an entire industry full of value stream management platforms on the market, many of whom are safe partners who know how to apply these in a safe context to automate those steps so that we have visibility at all times into the performance of these value streams. So it's a great way to start to automate your way into pursuing perfection through those value streams. Okay, so those were the 5 principles of lean thinking. I want to talk here briefly, just a couple more slides on who does value stream management. Now, right away, I'd love to get your thoughts in chat on either who does value stream management in your enterprise. Is there a title? Is there a role? Is it a set of roles? Or have you heard about other organizations appointing value stream management responsibilities to certain roles or individuals? We hear the term value stream manager more and more. This is a term that was very popular in manufacturing context that now seems to be crossing over into software development and sort of the digital realm. So we see that a lot, but notice that value stream managers are not here in our picture. So our message here is that because value streams are complex, especially at scale in the enterprises that typically use SAFe, value stream management takes a village. It requires a lot of effort by a lot of people to manage these complex value streams across many different functions. So we split the responsibility into essentially 2 camps, 2 groups. One is more strategy oriented, strategic, which is the business owners on the right, and the other group is more tactical on the left. And these are the triads that operate at the art and solution train level. So together, we're not saying that this is prescriptive by any means, but this is an indication that value stream management requires leadership. It requires effort. It requires doing things on a daily basis in the trenches, during PI planning, during PI execution, and also requires ownership and sponsorship and air cover and funding at a strategic level in order to move big mountains in your value streams when big mountains are the bottlenecks. So together, we have a balance of strategic perspectives and tactical perspectives that together provide value stream leadership throughout that end-to-end value stream. Now, the stuff down there in the gray is a mapping of what those people do in each of those camps that relates to lean thinking, those lean thinking principles, the 5 that I just went through. So the general message there is that the folks on the right are more strategic, the folks on the left are more tactical, and they lead within their spheres of influence value stream management, ensuring that that it's not a one and done event, that we're continually monitoring and managing and optimizing the value stream. Now back to value stream managers. This isn't to say that value stream managers do not have a place in SAFe. They absolutely do. Where you have value stream managers in the enterprise, they need to be working with these people or taking on these roles in order to round out those management capabilities. Okay, great. So quickly to wrap it up, those were the key concepts. If you want to learn more about what we're doing and thinking and writing about in SAFE on value stream management, start with this article on the left. This is in our framework. This is an advanced topic article on scaledagileparamework.com. So you go to that site and search for value stream management and SAFE. That will take you to an extended guidance article of this title. And that will actually launch you into a 3-part series on value stream management and flow acceleration. So it's one of a 3-part series that was recently published on value stream management and how it connects to various other parts of the framework. We're going to see a lot more of this in the future as value stream management becomes more of an integrated topic into the framework and into the SAFE system. Over on the right are more implementation-oriented things. So if you want to do implementation, if you want to get started with value stream management, maybe you've taken these courses and workshops before. If you have, great, you're already applying the concepts, but just know that we have these tools available to you now. The value stream and art identification workshop to help identify value streams, the value stream mapping workshop to help identify bottlenecks and get to root causes on where the interruptions are and how to create action plans for moving through those bottlenecks, all within a sort of a cross-functional setting where you get key stakeholders and practitioners together across the organization who can work on managing through those bottlenecks and hiccups. And of course, the Safe DevOps class, which has some built-in value stream mapping functions in it. So those are the tools that are available to you today from SAFE. A lot more to come, but that's what we have for you so far. So I'll stop there. Thanks for all of the great feedback in the chat window. I thought I saw some questions pop up in there. So Adrian and Em, do we have time to address those?
Yeah, I think it would be kind of fun if we can keep you engaged for a couple more minutes, Marc. There's another Marc who asked a question at 8:46 in the chat. It says, when we say end to end, what is the boundary of our system at the front end? The flow time is defined in the flow framework starts when the business commits to a new idea. That's different from when the customer submits a new idea. What about SAFE and the use of flow time as one of the primary flow measures?
Yeah, so great call out. Yes, more or less by definition, that flow time starts when we have committed to the work. So a lot comes into the funnel, new ideas, new prospects. We accept ideas from anywhere and we put them into a funnel, both at the portfolio level and at the art level. Doesn't mean that we're committed to those. So it's not really fair to start the flow time clock with those ideas that may not come through the funnel and be cleared for implementation. So yes, in practice, I would recommend starting flow time when you've committed to that work and you sent a message to your customers or stakeholders that this thing will be delivered. Prior to that step, usually anything goes.
Yeah, it could be a little wild, wild west, isn't it? It
could be the Wild West, and it could take months or years for those ideas to work their way through the funnel.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that was, thanks for that one. Here's one from James Chan. Is operational value stream a portion of the overall business value stream?
Very good question. Let me back up to this. This might have been the picture that spawned that question. We have 3 defined value streams in SAFE. The business agility value stream, we have operational value streams and development value streams. So yes, if the question is, does this business agility value stream include operational value streams? It does if the operational value streams are needed to capitalize on that business opportunity as it emerges. So most times that answer is yes. There's a business opportunity that emerges, or it could be a threat. It could be a new regulation. It could be an opportunity to leapfrog a competitor. It could be an opportunity to significantly enhance a system or go mobile or move into the cloud in order to capitalize on a market opportunity, right? Usually those things are sensed at a business level because there's significant economic benefit or economic downside if you don't react to it, which causes work to flow through that operational value stream. So in most cases, yes, the operational value stream would be triggered, and then that operational value stream would pull in systems, solutions, services from development value streams that are needed to capitalize on that opportunity. Hopefully that answered the question. Okay, got a thumbs up from James. Awesome, thanks, James.
Yay, that's a good one. One from earlier in the talk from Aoife at the start, you mentioned value stream needs to be managed carefully. Who is managing the value stream, please? Is it an individual's responsibility or a collaboration of several roles? It says apologies if you explained it and I missed it. It seems like
so. If that question came in early, yeah, if that came in early, I'm wondering if we addressed it with this slide. Who does VSM?
Yep. Aoife is, I can see her. She's giving you a real thumbs up as opposed to a
real thumbs up.
Yeah, there we go. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so maybe just to reiterate that really quickly, this really depends on the complexity of your value stream. You may not need this many people. You may not need an army of people managing the value stream actively if it's a relatively simple value stream, right? So the number of people that are required, the amount of leadership that's needed is really a function of the complexity of the value stream, the dependencies, and the lines of communication and the departmental boundaries that are involved. So have as many people as you need, no more, no less, in order to effectively manage flow through that end-to-end stream of work. Okay, Adrian, what's next?
Thanks for that.
I'm on a roll.
You are on a roll. It's fantastic. We probably have time for one more if somebody wanted to drop a question into the chat. I think I covered off everybody. If I didn't, if I missed somebody's question, just copy and paste it. Or
I see one from Sam at 48 past the hour, related to value stream managers. Maybe I could address this one really fast. Does a value stream manager get in the weeds and identify and address interruptions? Maybe, maybe not. I think it would depend on the altitude in the organization at which that value stream manager operates. Definitely somebody should. So whoever is leading the charge, whoever is managing the value stream, whether it's a person or team, should know what's happening in the weeds. If that's a single person and there's nobody else around to do it, then that person, that value stream manager, or whatever they're called by title, should be in the weeds, really understanding the nature of those interruptions. So the closer you can be to the work, the closer you can be to the interruptions, and the closer you can be to the facts about where the interruptions are and what solutions will alleviate those interruptions. If you've got more of a team managing the value stream, like I'm showing here on the slide, it probably doesn't make sense, or it's impractical for everybody involved to be deep in the weeds in their understanding of what's happening in the value stream. But I'd say there needs to be somebody, and usually it's the people who are closest to the work.
Sam thinks he's happy. That's good. Like, all right. We'll take one more. This one's actually kind of interesting. Why SAFe has two types of value streams?
How much time do we have?
In less than 5 minutes, Marc.
That's a very metaphysical question.
No.
I think that's got a lot of different answers, right? That's getting very philosophical. But right now, I think in a word or less, and maybe Adrian and Em can chime in on their beliefs here too. We have two operational development. Sorry, we have two value streams, primary value streams defined: the development value stream and the operational value stream defined in SAFe, because those to us represent the streams of work that are most applicable to what we do in SAFE. So development value streams are more for the technology teams that are moving technical products, technology-oriented products through those value streams, through organizations, developing, defining, building, testing, releasing technology-related products so that they can be either consumed inside the organization or outside the organization. Those development value streams and the people in them don't ordinarily have the marketing and the sales and the operations and the support functions required to fully manage those solutions from end to end from a customer perspective. So we see a need to separate the two, recognize that they work together in tandem, and up till now, SAFE has been primarily focused on enabling fast flow through those development value streams so that the work that the people in those development value streams can serve the business as effectively as possible. That might be the best I can do off the cuff, put on the spot.
Pretty good. That was well done. That was well done.
Decent?
Yeah, it was pretty good, actually. That is fantastic. I feel like that's a great place to and end on a high note, and probably to start to wrap up our meetup, just so that folks have a chance to transition to their top of the hour meetings, and maybe have a chance to grab a coffee before they do that. So I really want to thank Marc. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here in Australia. And I'm looking at our attendees, and we're getting folks from all over the place in the United States, in Europe, in Australia, Vietnam, Singapore. So it's a really fun, truly global meetup. Obviously, you're a big draw, Marc. So thanks again for supporting Pretty Agile and coming to our meetup.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thanks everybody for taking time out of your busy day to chat about VSM.